Yeah, morning all. So before I start, can anyone please confirm whether my voice is clear, whether my screen is
Morning.
clear?
Morning. Yes.
Fine. So myself, I'm Vijay. Vijay is I hold 17 plus years of experience, which includes nearly 8 plus years of experience in Python environment. So my experience includes design, development, and implementation of Python and Django based applications, well versed in implementing different Python libraries like NumPy, CP, Pandas, PyTables, Matplotlib, URLlib, etc. Experience in implementing large-scale business critical systems using object-oriented design and programming, and developing variety of web applications, implementing MVT architecture using server-side applications. Right? Fine. So just these are the topics that I'm going to discuss as part of the demo session. Right? Why Python? Why Python? So already we have got many programming languages. Why again Python required? And Python is not a kind of programming language which is very recently introduced. Python was introduced like 30 years ago, right? It was introduced in the year 1989. But why all of a sudden Python has got a great boom? Reasons why Python is suddenly super popular. Yeah, this is the first class, right? Reasons why Python is suddenly super popular. Okay, who can learn Python? Who can learn Python? What are the prerequisites for learning Python? Okay. There is no prerequisites. Anybody can update with Python. It doesn't mean that you should have the knowledge on C or Java or other programming. No, the Python syntaxes look like normal English language. They are very simple as compared to other programming. The syntaxes of Python are little different, simple and easy to understand, right? So anybody can update with Python. How Python was built, how Python was derived, what features we see, Python, we call a Python as a hybrid language, right? Where we see features from different other programming features, all the many multiple programming language features we are going to see. That's the reason we call it as a hybrid language. And Python real-time applications. What kind of applications we can develop today by using Python? Python mostly used for developing what kind of applications. So before you update with any technology, you need to know like what kind of applications are mostly developed with that. Python usage. Who are using Python today? Which companies are using Python today? And topmost applications built by using Python. Python features. Python features, right? Features of Python as compared with other programming, right? Python comparison with other programming. So I'll just compare Python with other programming. You can just check what advantages we see in Python as compared with other programming. Even you can check with coding wise also, right? Coding wise, complexity wise, length wise, you can check how this Python code looks as compared with other programming. And reasons why Python is suddenly super popular. What are the reasons which makes Python suddenly super popular, right? Python scope and job market. Python scope and job market means whenever you update any technology, right, you need the scope of it. How long, I mean, how many years it will be in the market, right? It's not like Python is not a kind of technology. So still many implementations, many going implementations, applications developing in Python. Python is the #1 ranked programming language. In the current industry, Python is named as the #1 ranked programming language with wide varieties of applications development, mostly used to programming. It's today, if you see like Python mostly used, especially from the last 3-4 years, right? The usage of Python has increased a lot. Like Python mostly used for automation applications, for web applications, for gaming applications, for embedded applications, for networking applications, for desktop applications, right? In this way, wide varieties of applications Python is used. And not only that, in various high-end technologies, if we talk like various high-end technologies, Python is used as an implementation language, like data science, total implementation with Python, big data like Spark with Python, PySpark we say, And AWS or DevOps, like in IoT, right? We write scripts, Python scripts, right? Automation scripts using Python, right? And in web applications development, Python is preferred. So in various high-end technologies, Python is that language used, right, as an implementation, right? And why Python? Why Python, right? I define Python in 5 lines. I define Python in 5 lines, right? It's a general purpose programming, multi-programming features we see, high-level language, interpretation language, user-friendly programming language, right? Let us discuss one by one in brief. Python is a general purpose programming. Python, we call Python as a general purpose programming. Means any kind of applications we can develop by using Python. Any kind of applications. So before Python, there were some languages. Before Python, there were some languages like Pascal. If you heard about these languages like Pascal, Fortran, COBOL. So these languages are used for specific purposes. Okay. Pascal, Fortran, COBOL. These are purpose-based languages. They are used for specific purposes, not for all the purposes. Purpose-based. For example, Pascal for developing scientific applications, Fortran for complicated mathematical applications, and COBOL for business applications. Means they are used for specific purposes. But a language which is suitable for developing any type of application, such a language we call it as general purpose programming language. Python is such a kind of programming where we can develop any kind of applications like automation applications, web applications, animation applications, gaming applications, embedded applications, desktop applications. In this way, varieties of applications can be developed. It's not confined to a particular environment, right? So any kind of applications can be developed by. That's why we call Python as a general purpose programming language. We call it as general purpose programming. Okay. Multi-programming features we see, right? Python has got multi-programming features. What all the features we see in different other programmings, right? Like scripting features, you have got procedural-oriented programming like C language features, object-oriented programming features, modular programming features, right? Later I discuss in brief about this. What are the features, multi-programming features? So that's the reason, because of this multi-programming features, we call Python as a hybrid language. Okay. High level language. Python is a high level language. Okay. There are two types of languages like low level languages, high level languages. High level languages. Python comes as a high level language, right? So low level languages, example of low level languages like assembly level language or machine level language or machine level. These are not, first thing, they are not human understandable. First thing is they are not human understandable. They are not portable. Yes. And hardware dependent, otherwise machine dependent. They cannot run on all the hardwares and all the operating systems. Low level languages, right? They are not human understandable. They are not portable. They are not, cannot run on all the hardwares and all the operating systems. They are machine dependent. High level languages, right? Python comes as high level. Right? Yes. They are human understandable, they are portable and machine independent. They can run on all the hardware and all the operating systems. Human understandable, portable, machine independent. They can run on all the hardware and all the operating systems. Python is a high level language. Interpretation language. Python is an interpretation language, line by line execution. We see line by line execution for Python, which makes debugging easy, right? Yes. Just observe this. We have got compilation languages, interpretation languages, compilation, interpretation. Difference between this compilation and interpretation. For example, I got some statements like this. Interpretation. In the case of compilation, it executes the entire code at once. Right? And display, if any errors, display the errors. If any errors, 6 errors or 4 errors or 3, whatever it is. It executes the entire code at once. Entire code executed at once. But in the case of interpretation, line by line execution, step by step it executes, line by line it executes. If you got error in the second line, it won't execute the remaining statements. This we call it as abnormal termination. Abnormal termination means termination of the program in the middle of the execution without executing up to the last statement. So in the case of interpretation, line by line execution, which makes debugging easy, right? User-friendly programming or programmer-friendly programming, which provides simple syntaxes, right? Python syntaxes looks very simple and easy to understand. They look like normal English statements. Okay. How Python was built? So this is understood, right? Python is a general purpose programming. Any kind of applications we can develop. Multi-programming, hybrid features we see. High level language, human understandable, portable, hardware independent, machine independent. Interpretation language, line by line execution, user friendly, right? Yes. Now, how Python was built? How Python was built or Python was derived, right? Yes. So Python has taken the features from these programming languages. Python has taken the features from, okay. It has taken the features from procedural oriented programming, procedural oriented programming. Example like C language, it has taken the features from this. It has taken the features from object oriented programming. Python has got the features of object oriented programming. Example C++ or Java. Next, scripting. Scripting languages. That's got the features of scripting language like Linux shell script. Linux shell script. Modular programming. Because of this modular programming only, Python has got a great boom today. Widely used. I just discussed module of 3 is that. So if I combine all these three, all this nothing but Python, right? C, just like C, we can develop applications like Java, we can develop applications like C++. We can write many automation scripts like Modular 3, right? So in this way, we can develop many applications. If I talk about this language like Java, right? Java programming, Java developers or programmers, Java programmers are restricted to use only object-oriented programming, right? Without object-oriented programming, we cannot write a Java application or a program. So compulsory object-oriented programming, class and object, right? So, but in Python, with object-oriented, without object-oriented, with procedural-oriented, with modular programming, we can develop many types of applications. It's not compulsory that should use only object-oriented programming. If we talk about this Java, right? These are the two major programming languages, Python and Java. Today, if you see Java and Python, are two major programming languages in the market. See, if you talk like, if you go back like 10 years, 2010, Java mostly used language, Java 43% used in the industry. If you go back like 10 years, right? So Java is 43% used. In 2010, the usage of Python just 3%. Most of them are not aware there is a programming language like Python in 2010. If you go back like, if you go back after 10 years, right? 2020. Now that from the last 2-3 years, right? If we compare, the usage of Java decreased to 19%. The usage of Python. I'll just show you these things, these graphs in Google only. I'll just open Google and show you all the statistics of this Python and Java, the usage in the industry currently. Python like nearly 31% used in the industry currently, right? 31% usage of Python, Java 19%. Okay. So script, shell script, right? Even if you talk like, if you take in line, if you talk about any Linux operating system, any Linux flavor, whether it is Red Hat Linux, CentOS or Ubuntu OS, right? By default, you see Python as an inbuilt, no need of any separate installation. Python comes as an inbuilt within the OS. Just you can open terminal and just say Python, Python gets open. So we can write many scripts using Python, right? Python scripts. And modular programming, because of this modular programming, you can see Python has got great boom today. So we see like modules, we have got concept of modules here, 89,300 inbuilt modules Python providing for various domains. Whatever domain you are from, Python provides a module, right? So 89,300 inbuilt modules Python is providing for various domains. Okay. So what are these modules? I said modules, whatever domain you are from, any domain, Python has got a module. Okay. Modules. For example, if you're from data science background, right? If you're from data science background, Python providing separate models for this, separate modules for this data science environment. Like for example, NumPy, Pandas, PyTables, Scikit-learn, CP. Like in this way, many modules Python has got for this data science environment. Not only for data science, right? For big data environment, you've got models like Pandas model, right? So for every environment, Python has got modules, right? Thousands of modules. It doesn't mean that you need to have the idea about all these thousands modules, but whatever domain you are from, the domain related modules, you will be exploring it. How to explore, how to use it, how to import, how to work with the modules, you'll be learning here, and how to create our own modules also. Okay, next time for testing, for test cases, right? Separate modules Python has got. for networking. For networking, we not only modules, right? A separate framework itself Python is providing for network applications, network programming, right? Separate modules Python provides. Next, for operating systems, OS kinds of activities for creating directory, removing directory, for creating, renaming, for all this. The name of the model itself is OS. If you're from database background, for every database, Python provides a module. So for example, if you've got to connect Python to connect with Oracle, we require a module, right? Like cx underscore Oracle module. This is the model with using which Python can connect with the database. So it's not it looks very simple and easy, right? Python connecting with the database is not as complex as other programming languages. So just this module is enough, and the connecting parameters, right? Yes. And if we go from any database, right? For MySQL, we have got like the models like PyMySQL. We've got models like PyMySQL. Yes, MySQL connector, right? In this way, using which you can connect with this database. For any other database like SQL Server, PyODBC. The name of the model is like PyODBC. So we have got models for each and every database Python is providing, using which it can connect with the database by writing Python statements and execute that Python statements. Go and check, table gets created. You can insert data also by writing Python statements. You can retrieve data. You can perform any valid SQL operations. Yes. And apart from this, for any file format, if you're working with for Excel files, we have got models like Excel RD for reading, Excel SX writer. I want to create an Excel workbook by writing Python statements. If you execute, right, go and check at whatever location and whatever file name you have provided with at that location with file name, right, a workbook gets created. Excel workbook or Excel file gets created. I want to add some sheets, sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3, multiple sheets into Excel file by writing Python statements itself. Into sheet 2, I want to write some data. From sheet 1, I want to read data. So from sheet 1, sheet 2, reading and writing. For Excel, right? And for not only Excel files, XML files, JSON files, JavaScript object notation, JSON files, PDF files. We can create PDF. We can read data from this, from write data to PDF, writing Python program to for creating a PDF files, Excel files, XML, JSON, right? CSV, comma separated values file, any kind of file formats, right? It can read and we can write data into that. Yes. And for statistical models, for mathematical operations, we have got math module is available. The name of the model itself is math, using which you can perform all the mathematical operations. And for generating graphs or reports, Python is the only programming language which can generate graphs by writing Python statements. Any kind of graph, normal graph, bar graph, histogram, scatter plot, stack plot, pie graph, any type of graphs. Okay, in the tomorrow session, just I'll brief you. I'll show you some sample snippets of Python, how the Python coding looks. You understand that how simple the statements look. Some examples on graphs, some other examples, right? Okay. So the demo goes for today and tomorrow, right? 2 days I'll be discussing about these concepts. So, now Python real-time applications. What kind of applications we can develop today by using Python? Python mostly used for developing what kind of applications? Today, if you talk like Python, mostly used today for creation of two, mainly like web applications, automation applications, web applications, right? For web applications creations, for web development, right? Python giving a separate framework like the Django framework. This Django framework is especially used for developing web applications in Python, where it provides many flexible features and options, where it has got its own database. It has got its own database. So many other flexible features, everything taken care by the Django only. Fine. Not only this, we have got many frameworks for Python. Flask framework, Django framework, Pyramid framework, TurboGate, this many framework, but the most famous one is Django framework. You may ask why Python or Django used, right? Why not the we have got language like Java, .NET, all this they are developing web applications from last 20-25 years, right? Why again Python required? Means at a rapid speed we can develop a web application using Python, using this framework like Django with very less coding, not even 1/4 coding as compared with any other programming. I'll just show you in the tomorrow session that I'll take a code and I'll take a task and I'll try to implement it in multiple languages. See, coding wise you can check, complexity wise you can check, length wise you can compare them, right? How simple this Python statements look. Apart from this web applications, Python also used in automation applications. Automation of today, like Python mostly used in creation of this automation applications using technologies like data science, using technologies like data science, using technologies like IoT, like DevOps. DevOps or AWS, right? So like if you talk about this IoT, right? IoT, Internet of Things. Today, like everything through online, right? Online banking, online shopping, online exams, online education, e-learning, online business, online communication, like audio, video chatting, online games, online healthcare, right? So in say IoT, it is a physical network or device embedded with electronics, software, sensors, and network connectivity for collecting data, for exchanging data, and controlling the things, right? So physical network or device using which we can control the data, exchange the data, and controlling the things from the place where we are, right? So in a simple way, IoT, electronic devices connecting and communicating with each other. Okay. So here coding in, so in IoT, most of the coding is done in Python. We're writing many scripts using Python. And if you come to this data science, right? Data, everything deals with the data, right? Data has got experience. Yes. At the end of the session, I'll be briefing you about the topics, course topics, right? Everything I'll be briefing you. Right. And okay, everything deals with the data. Data has got experience. Data has got future reference using data or data science. We perform data analysis, data predictions, data classifications, data clustering, data recommendations, right? It's a blend of techniques. Data science is a blend of techniques. The main technique what we see in data science, ML, machine learning, right? Yes. So just without entering into the technicals of this, where exactly Python can be used here. Observe. So ML, machine learning, right? It is an approach where we are going to provide some patterns, data patterns to an application or a system. This is an application, right? You will be providing some data patterns. Data, right? Based on the data patterns provided, the application need to predict in the automated fashion, right? A very small example. For example, a bank has given loan to, it has provided loan to 1,000 customers. Out of this 1,000, 400 they are paying the loans regularly. 600, right? So they are paying this 400. They are paying the loans regularly. These are, they are not paying the loans. They are defaulters. So based on this data, right, the application need to predict tomorrow if new customers are approaching, to whom to approve the loans, to whom to reject the loans based on this previous data. So the people who has got, who are paying the loans, they have got some common features. I group them as X features. Those who are not paying that, they have got some common features, right? I'm grouping them as Y features. Using this X and Y features, right? Using this X and Y features, I need to train the application. And tomorrow the application need to predict based on this, right? So out of 100 people who are approaching, 100 new people who are approaching for the loan, out of this 100, like 30 has got X features, 70 has got Y features. To whom to approve, to whom to reject. Approve for this, reject for this. Why this is getting rejected? Because these people with Y features, they cannot pay the loans. People with X features saying that they can pay the loans. So approve the loans for this, reject the loans for this. Who is doing this? Application. How application performing it? So it got trained. Okay. So we have got many techniques, many machine ML techniques, right? Regression techniques, classification techniques, clustering techniques, recommendation techniques, pattern matching techniques, right? For all these techniques to implement, we require a language. For all these techniques to implement, we require one language. So Python is the mostly chosen or mostly used to programming for this data science or this machine learning, deep learning, right? Where Python provides many modules towards this data science environment like Matplotlib, NumPy, Pandas, CP, scikit-learn. Once again, can anyone please confirm whether my voice is clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Fine. Okay. So I was just talking that like Python mostly used in this data science. Total implementation goes in Python, right? So data science implementation in Python, where it has got many modules. Python is providing even in IoT. I was saying right, the coding in Python. And if I talk like even in DevOps or in AWS, right, Python. So if I talk about this, not only here, uh, Python serves as a remedy to any problem in the IT industry. In the case of DevOps, right, for to reduce the time taken by the DevOps lifecycle in improving its efficiency, right? Okay. For like requirement gathering, system design, system implementation, deployment, maintenance, right? So it Python, it offers a kind of structural solution in terms of automating the tasks in the each stage, right? So I can say Python is one of the best scripting language with vast varieties of Python libraries, inbuilt libraries, right? Which allows to write scripts for the improved development life cycle, right? Yes. Okay. Apart from this, in big data applications, right? So like big data also has got a great boom in big data applications. Also, Python is chosen. Just I will take a minute or two where exactly Python is used in this big data, right? We talk like data is stored, how currently how the data is getting stored. KBs of data, MBs of data, GB, gigabytes, terabytes, petabytes, exabytes, zettabytes, etabytes, sotabytes, so on, right? Should have seen KBs, MBs, GBs, or you should have seen TVs of data. But do you think like petabytes or exabytes of data, is it getting generated in the current real world? Petabytes or exabyte? 1 petabyte equal to 1024 TBs. Already 1 TB is a large storage unit, but 1024 TBs makes 1 petabyte. Yes, petabytes or exabytes of data is getting generated. Talk about the social media like Facebook. In a minute, how many posts are getting circulated? Facebook has got millions and trillions of users throughout the world, not only within the country, entire world it has got. What is the data generated by Facebook in a minute? How many posts and videos are getting circulated? Each and every post and video need to be stored, right? Not only like Facebook, today if you talk about any other application, right, generating huge data, like just if I take 1 minute transaction, if I take 1 minute transaction, in a minute, how many Facebook FB posts, Twitter tweets, if you talk like Google queries, what is the data generated by Google in a minute? Or if you talk everyone creating their own videos and uploading in the YouTube, right? YouTube videos upload. Email or millions and trillions using email or Gmail messages. For bank transactions, for telecom transactions, e-commerce sites like Flipkart, Amazon, right? So in this way, everywhere huge data is getting generated, right? So for that, we have got some big data technologies like big data, Hadoop, Spark, right? So these are both this uses language like Scala, language like Python. They use language like Scala and Python, especially Spark is a very high speed processing, huge data in quick time it is going to process. So Spark implementation with Python like PySpark, we say like PySpark. So even in this big data side also Python is preferred. Just I'll brief out the various other applications like Python is used like even within this scientific applications. Means for numerical analysis, even NASA is using Python for its research and development activities because of this Python hybrid features. GUI animation, graphical user interface or animation applications. We have got separate models Python is providing for this GUI animations like TK Inter, PyQt. There are some models. And for game development, today like Python mostly used today for this game development for single user, multi-user online games. Not only that, Python provides a separate framework itself for this gaming applications or for this game development, right? It is providing a separate framework for this game development or for gaming applications. The framework we call it as like Pygame. Pygame is a framework Python is providing especially for game or game development. Not only Pygame, we have got other frameworks Python provides like PyCora. It's another framework Python is providing. Python. A 3D rendering library, right? Python. Pygame, Pycora, and Python. Okay. Next. Apart from this, Python also used for testing our test cases, and for scheduling tasks. For scheduling tasks, right? For scheduling, we have got Airflow for it. And apart from this, Python is used for software development, right? Software development. Software development. Software developers make use of Python as a support language, right? So we use like Buildbot, Apache Gum for automated compilation testing, Roundup, Track for project management. Okay. So software engineers use Python as a support language. Apart from this, Python is used for business applications. Business applications. It's Python is one of the greatest choice to develop e-commerce systems, right? E-commerce websites. For database, one of the hottest application, database applications, right? Database applications, where Python can connect with any database, right? Like Oracle, MySQL, PostgreSQL, SQL Server, all this. And for network programming, right? Yes. For network programming, we have got a separate for network programming and for network applications. Python providing a separate framework like Twisted Python, right? It's a separate framework Python is providing for network programming or for network application, right? Apart from this, Python can also be used for web scraping. Web scraping for scraping data or for extracting data or harvesting data from different websites. If data in the database, query it. If data not in database, scrap it. Web scraping, we say. We have got URL lib model for it, for that. And the Python also not only for computer applications, also for electronics and civil environment, right? So it's used for CAD, computer aided designing, CAD applications, computer aided designing, right? Computer applications, and for 3D CAD applications. Audio and video applications. Audio and video applications. Audio and video applications, right? And yes, some of the famous applications, audio and video, like a Team Player, C Play, or some of those. For embedded applications, right? For embedded applications, the most well-known embedded applications, the most well-known embedded application which uses Python computing, right? Which uses Python for its computing. Raspberry Pi. which uses Python for its computing. Apart from this, Python can also be used for computer vision. Computer vision, right? For color detection, for face detection, for object detection, Python, and then robotics, writing many Python scripts, and for data analysis. Data analysis, right? Okay. And apart from this, generating graphs and reports, Python is the only programming which generates graphs and reports. So these are the applications. Python mostly used for developing what kind of applications? Automation applications like data science, web applications, big data, gaming applications, GUI applications, test cases, testing for software development, database applications, web scraping, computer vision for audio and video. And apart from this, for desktop applications, single user applications, console applications also, desktop applications. Okay, fine. These are the applications, right? Yes. Just I'll take 5-10 minutes more. And who are using Python today? Who are using Python today? Topmost applications built by using Python. Topmost applications built by using Python. So just I'll list out one the applications built by using Python and who are with the companies using Python, right? So first, like Google using Python for its web search system. YouTube using Python for its video sharing service. Yahoo using Python. Instagram. The prime reason for Instagram for choosing Python, its simplicity and its practicality, right? NASA using Python for its research and development activities because of its hybrid features. Uber using Python, Uber pricing algorithm implemented using Python, right? And we have got applications built by using Python, like applications like Dropbox, Pinterest, Quora, Netflix using Python for its security automation, for its subscription and for security automation, right? Yes. Reddit, BitTorrent using Python, for its file sharing service. Maya, a powerful 3D animation, just like Photoshop, we have got Maya, a powerful 3D animation uses Python scripting. Ironport email server, Ironport email server product, which uses more than 1 million lines of Python code for doing its job. And for hardware testing, companies like IBM, Seagate, Qualcomm, all this, they use Python for hardware testing. MMOG, massively multiplayer online games. Okay. Yeah, Divya Reddy. So Python, many different types of applications you can develop in using Python, except one application. Python mostly used in developing any type of application except one application. Python is very less used in mobile applications creations. Very less used. That is the limitation of Python, right? Where it is very less used in mobile application. And not only that, as compared with Java, I'm saying like Python is great, Java is okay, not like as compared. If you compare Python and Java, right? Java is faster than Python. Java is faster than Python. Python is slow as compared with Java. Okay, fine. So these are some of the examples, right? And we have got much more to discuss. And see just the scope and job market of Python, right? The scope of Python and job market of Python. Okay, the scope of Python. Just I'll just open Google and show you that, right? Popular coding language. Popular coding language. Okay, if you see like 2010, 2020, right? 2020 is popular coding language. Top 10 programming languages. Python stands first. Next comes JavaScript, Java, the other programmings. The most popular programming language, Python. Python stands first. Next comes the Java, other things, right? Yes. Popular popular programming language ranking based on most popular programming language used by top 25 unicorns. Okay. If you compare from the last 4-5 years, right? See the blue color 2017, the orange color 2018, the ash color 2019, blue 2020, right? Yes. Rankings, right? If you see, Python stands number one ranked. Next comes Java, the other things, right? Yes. Okay. Python, next comes Java, C++, JavaScript, right? So if you see here in Python, web applications, desktop applications, embedded applications. But for Java, you see web applications, mobile applications. Java used for mobile and desktop. But here we cannot see that. See this mobile application. No. The usage of Python in the industry, right? See 31% used, 31% used in the industry, right? Java 19% used. 31% Python, Java 19, C++ 9%, JavaScript. See, right? The usage of industry. And if you see that the average salaries for Python, so see this, these are the rankings. Python stands number one ranked. And if you see this rank by average salaries, ranking by job openings, today like Python has got many job openings, right? So in the tomorrow session, everyone you can attend the session tomorrow and day after tomorrow also to see more on this Python. I'll be just briefing you about the codings and how this coding of Python looks as Python comparison with other programmings, the other things, right? Fine. And the reasons which makes Python suddenly super popular. What are the other reasons which makes Python suddenly super popular? Tomorrow session, I'll be briefing you more about this Python and its advantages, features. Okay. So coming to this course content, right? Just one second. You can go to this DurgaSoft website, right? And you can just check here. Python. Starting from this Python basics, why Python advantages, versions, installations, Python operations, modes, constants, data types, comments, type conversions, operators in Python, operators, various different Python IDEs. In real time, we use IDEs, right, for Python. PyCharm IDE, PyDev, Eclipse, NetBeans, Jupyter Notebook, Anaconda distributions. So how to work in different IDEs, how to download them, how to install them, step by step, everything I'll be showing you. Python flow control statements, looping statements, strings in Python like string indexing, string slicing. In DevOps, right? Yes, it's writing scripts using Python. Okay, where Python has got many built-in libraries. Strings in Python, right? Strings, indexing, slicing, concatenation, comparison, splitting. Okay, string indexing, string slicing, string functions, string methods, string special characters, right? Collections in Python, collection data types, right? List, tuple, sets, dictionaries, lists, list indexing, list slicing, list functions, list method, list addresses, list methods, list modifications, nested list, all this. Similarly for tuples, tuple operations, sets, set operations, set mathematical methods, dictionary operations, properties, flavors in Python. Sorry, functions in flavors also we have got for Python, for C language, for Java, Jython is available, for .NET, Iron Python is available, right? For functions in Python, defining them, calling them, properties, examples, categories, default, non-default, keyword and non-keyword arguments in these functions. Types of functions like lambda functions, reduce function, map function. Okay. Passing functions, lambda, all this, right? Yes. Models in Python. Models in Python. What is a model? Because of this model programming, Python has got great boom, I said. Different models, different types of importing, renaming a model, reloading a model, different ways of importing it, how to create our own modules, right? Packages in Python, defining packages, importing and using it. Errors and exceptions in Python, error handling, try and accept blocks, finally blocks, file handling, reading data, writing data to files, different file operations, and object-oriented programming concepts in brief. Okay, object, static, non-static, defining constructors, parameterized, destructor, garbage collector, inheritance types, object class, polymorphism, overriding. Okay, fine. Regular expressions, extracting required data from the given data. Extracting required data from the given data, right? Okay. Database connectivity, Python database access, right? I'll show you one installation of one database and later how to connect with the database, how to perform all these database operations, right? And Python data and time related. See, models and many advanced models I'll be discussing. Some models related to data science, some models related to big data, some models related to operating system, some related to data and some related to databases. In this way, different environments I'll be showing you the models and how to create our own models also. Operating system module, advanced concepts like iterator, generator, closer, decorator. And not only this, we have got models related to graphics, GUI programming, graphic model like TK Inter module for creating all this. And for Excel module, Excel workbook, creating Excel file. Okay. Data analytics. So some models related to data science introduction. I'll be providing introduction to this data science here. Why data science, learnings, different types of learning, supervised, unsupervised, univariate, multivariate analysis, algorithms, types, applications. Some models like Pandas model, mostly used, most important model. In brief, in depth, we'll be discussing about this model. It is for regular usage, it is for data science, it is for big data, and for normal applications also, Python applications also. Python data frames from dictionaries, from list, from series, from CSV model, from JSON model, okay, date functionalities. Okay. Python NumPy model, right? NumPy model also in brief, in depth, right? For mathematical operations and plottings and visualizations, different types of graphs, normal graph, bar graph, histogram, scatter plot, stack plot, right? So this is what I'll be discussing as for nearly 30. We have got nearly 30 topics, right? In brief, in depth, we'll be discussing with multiple coding working examples. And those, if you want, if anyone wants to choose web development using Django framework, so even Django is covered for those who wants web development using Django for them. Apart from this, Python, Django, right? Introduction, features, frameworks, Django installation, Django project architecture, applications, Django views, templates, all this, right? And before you go with the actual Django implementation, project implementation, right? That we will just also give knowledge on this web technologies like HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, JavaScript, SQL, right? Yes, before we go. So those who wants to go for Django, it's a separate, right? But as a package also you can take Python and Django, right? As it. So Python, I divided Python into three, like Python core, Python advanced, and application oriented modules. Totally, like only for Python, I'll be spending nearly 75 days, right? 75 hours, right? With in brief, in depth, you'll be getting in brief, you'll be getting command on this Python at the end of the course with nearly 300 plus code examples. Okay. We are just offering Python for a very, okay, it's an offer fee of just 5K. And also like those who wants to go for web development, it's a separate, right? Django. So nearly we'll be spending nearly 50 hours, 50 hours, right? 50 hours I'm talking, 75 hours, right? If you want, you can go parallelly along with Python and Django, like it is also like of 5K, but an offer just they are providing. If you're taking combo, just they are providing for 9K offer fee, right? Yes. So that is what Django web. Apart from this Django, I'll be discussing like in this HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, JavaScript, okay, and basic SQL basics. HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, JavaScript, Django, and these things, right? Yes. And in this Django, nearly 25 apps creations, 25 apps creations, applications creations, step by step. You'll be doing along with me parallelly, especially for Django. It's a hands-on, right? So whether you are in online, right, you are supposed to do parallelly along with me, step by step. Once the application one is completed, we'll go to the second application two. Once everyone got the output, application. If anybody got error, you'll be sharing your screen. Your error will be discussed, right? So even not only getting the output, even you should know how the errors are going to get rectified, right? What errors you get. So in this way, nearly 25 applications creations. Right? This is what as part of this Python, right? Yes. Any queries you have got, anyone? Like if you have got any queries related to this Python course or anything what we have discussed, right? Yes. You can go with your queries now. Every session, sessions as a today it's a demo session, right? So most of the time I was speaking. So in general sessions, right? It will be like, it should be like interactive sessions where where for every statement I type, you will be responding with the expected results, right? Yes. What is that output for that? Django codes going parallelly means when Python core is going on, you will be learning with HTML, CSS, that Bootstrap, the JavaScript, right? Once you enter into the advanced and those things, I'll be going with that Django basics. So parallelly, you can go right. Yes. The duration is so here daily the session will be from 7:30 to 8:30. Fine. As for Python, right? Yes, everyone you will be getting that every session is video recorded. You will be getting the recorded video after the class, the day itself. So today morning 7, when the class completes, by afternoon you will be getting the video to your Google Drives, right? Will be getting the video, right? And clear notes will be provided for topic to topic. That I'll be forwarding you to your mail IDs. Topic wise, every alternate days you'll be getting the notes, right, to your mail IDs. Django duration 45 to 50 hours, right? So if you want to go one after the other, you can go. Otherwise, parallelly also you can go. You understand this? Because in Django, everything taken care of by the framework itself. Already the code is available. We are not going to write much code within that. Yes. So directly or indirectly, every software engineer, right, going to touch this Python. Compulsory, if you go to software field, compulsory, directly or indirectly, Python is required, right? Even for data science, Python, for big data, for Python, and for writing scripts, automation scripts in AWS, DevOps, and in robotics, right? In this way, Python is mostly used today in high-end technologies. Fine. Right. Any other queries, right? Anyway, so tomorrow and day after tomorrow also, if people can attend the session to see more on this, how these sessions.
Hey Vijay, duration of complete course, like how long will it be?
Python, around Python and Django.
Yeah, Python and
Python, like nearly like 2 to 2.5 months it takes. And if you if people who wants to go Django after completion of Python, if you want to go, you can go. Otherwise, parallelly also you can prefer, right? For Django, 1.5 to 2 months.
okay, thank you.
So even sometimes Saturdays I'll be taking some sessions, right? On Friday I'll be intimating, right? If there are sessions, depending upon the students' availability and my availability, we will just have some sessions. Okay. Generally from Monday to Friday the sessions, but Saturdays, if sometimes we are running out of days, I'll be planning some bigger sessions on Saturday, depending upon the availability of the students and me. Yeah, you will be getting today's recording, not a problem. Fine.
And like, what are the roles we can play after completing this course, like in IT industry?
So generally, 1 second. See, there are two categories of people who learns Python, right? So Python, two categories of people who learns Python, who gets updated with Python. The first category of Python, they learn only Python. They learn only Python, right? And they use Python in implement in data science, in big data, in writing scripts in AWS, DevOps, in robotics. So in this way, their their specialization, right? They are not into Python, right? Their career is in data science, big data, other, right? But implementation in Python. So they just update with Python and just go and implement the Python in various high-end data science, big data like Spark. That's the first category. Second category, who wants to have a career in Python itself. The second category of the people who wants to have career in Python itself. First category of people, their career is not in implementation in Python, but the career in the other, right? Second category of people who wants to have a career in Python itself. Those people, they need to go a step forward and need to update with the framework like Django framework. Those who wants to have a career in Python, who wants to have a job in Python, this Django, right? And as a Python developer, who wants to have Python developer, right? These things, right? Fine. Python web development and developing applications using Python, where we use like MVT architecture, MVT, models, views, templates, models, not database. Views means Python functional based or class based views. Templates using this technology like web technologies like HTML, CSS, Bootstrap. Like we create templates, web pages, where the interaction between the web page, Python, and the database, retrieving the data and storing the data into the database. Developing the varieties of web applications, right? Yes. These things, right? Yeah. Any other query? Yes. Yeah. So here, getting the output is not the criteria here, right? Getting the output is not the. So I'll be providing some kind of assignments and tasks, right? So every Friday I'll be providing some kind of assignments to work with. So you will be writing your own code, building your own code, right? So that you will get command on this subject, right? Fine.
Any certification that can be like we get it after this competition?
Yeah, from DURGASOFT you'll be getting a certificate, right? Course completion. Right. And apart from that, if anybody who wants to go for another certification like Microsoft certifications, other things, right? Certification programs. So I'll be just helping you out, like what is the syllabus in that, what are the course content, how the questions and how the performance is measured, right? I'll be taking separate session from it.
Will this course will help to get a certified from Microsoft
Yes,
certification?
definitely, right? We are spending those many hours, right? 75 hours totally only for Python. So where we'll be discussing every concept in brief, in depth, and with multiple working examples, and also with multiple assignment examples, right? So definitely you will get command on this Python.
Okay.
And also I'll show you in real time, we use different IDs, right? Not on generally people show it in single one ID, right? But I am going to show you on 5 to 6 IDs, right? How Python is going to run in the real time in different IDs for different environments like PyCharm, Jupyter, Spider, Eclipse, NetBeans, and Anaconda distributions, right?
Okay.
How to download them and how to install them and how to run the code step by step. For the installations, I'll ask you people to do the installation along with me parallelly, step by step, right? Like database installations, IDs installations, and any other like Django installations, I ask you people to do along with me parallelly, step by step. If anyone got struck up, you'll be sharing the screen. Share screen option available to check your error, right? Yes. Yeah, people from non-programming background, right? So what are the prerequisites for learning? Clearly I said zero programming knowledge, even from non-programming, can easily update with Python. They look like normal English statements. Tomorrow session, you understand, I'll be giving examples of that, how the Python statements without, I'll be showing you tomorrow, I'll be showing you some graphs, writing Python code for generating graphs or some sample examples, right? Without zero knowledge on Python also, I'll make you understand, right? How these statements look. Python statements look like normal English statements, very simple and easy to understand. So anybody, the only thing is just every day spend at least like 1 hour on the practicals. So if you are doing with the practicals, try to test it, experiment it, and you can ask queries. The session will be interactive sessions only. Everyone, you will be kept in unmuted status only. You can ask a query or doubt at any point of time. At the start of the session, if you got anything, or even after a WhatsApp group is going to be created, direct interaction with me. If you got any errors, right, you can just take a snap of it and you can post in the WhatsApp group. No need to wait until the next class. So anybody can answer it, even I'll be answering it.
So hi Vijay, Sandeep here this side.
Yes.
I have one doubt. I mean, actually, I'm interested in Django. So when you are planning to start the Django after completion this Python or?
So
It will go
multiple
parallel.
multiple Django batches are going to be started during this course.
Okay.
Means already for the batches for the previous batches, right? Django batches will be starting for every like 20 days. So next 10 days, one Django batch is going to start. Next Saturday, I hope. Next Sunday, I hope, right? So there is a Django batch going to start within a week of within 10 days of time. A Django batch is going to start. If not only that, the people who wants to choose, you can go parallelly. Otherwise, later you can go after 50% of the course completion. Otherwise, if you want to go one after the other, also that is up to you. You can attend any Django batch. Once you got registered, you can attend any of this. Even Python also, right? Once you got registered with Python, you can attend any of my Python batch. Even if you want to re-attend any Python batch, right? You can attend later any of my Python in the evening batches. Those also you can attend. If you got a break because of some reason, right? You can again re-attend my Python, right? So if I'm done with the queries, if there are no other queries, then I'll sign off for today and meet you tomorrow, same time at 7:30 with the same link. So even if you've got any queries, you can ask me in the tomorrow session also. So we'll discuss more on Python tomorrow. Fine. Okay. Thank you all for your time. Thank you. Meet you tomorrow, same time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, thank you.